Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So today we're going to actually talk about the Chris Del Conte email that went out to season ticket holders, University of Texas fans, announcing the 50% attendance as well as season starting on time for USF. So want to cover that. First off, I do want to give a quick shout out and just say my thoughts are with Kobe Boyce and the announcement of him saying he's going to step away from football for mental health reasons and the battling depression and things of that sort. We've been caught up with a lot of different things: COVID, protesting, election year, all sorts of things. But mental health is paramount right now, and that is a thing that so many of us have battled in our lives. And so totally understand where Mr. Boyce is coming from and needing to step away from football. He will continue to be enrolled at the University of Texas, but for right now, he will be away from the team. Now, in regards to Chris Del Conte's letter, I'm not going to get into the logistics of season. If you're a season ticket holder, you got the letter, you know what the logistics are in terms of credit for 2021 versus how they're planning to work things for 2020. But what's significant here is hearing the 50% number, especially in an area where we are dealing very heavily against COVID right now. B, the fact that he still said September 5th, they're going to hold strong to that based upon the governor's recommendations. C, your opponent on September 5th is an out-of-conference opponent. Big 12 is Bob Bowlesby. They're trying to play all their games. The SEC trying to play all their games, which is why I think down the road we're going to have a realignment conversation anyway, because they're not on the same page with the Big 10, Pac-12. I understand there's different governors and different people, political influence and whatnot, but they're not moving as a unified front from a whole college football perspective. And then you have schools like USF is one of the bigger ones, but smaller schools who may be missing out on significant paydays. So there's a lot going around here to touch on. As a football fan, does it excite me to hear that? Because if we're talking about 50%, DKR is almost 120. It's like 115, 120. I don't know the exact attendance amount, but you're now talking about what, 55s, almost 60,000 fans being able to attend. That's significant. That's a significant amount of people for something we're thinking we're not even going to have a season at all. So that's an aggressive plan in itself, in my opinion. And does that mean the following week LSU is still on in Baton Rouge under the same conditions, right? So that now is right there in front of us, and obviously LSU plays in a conference, SEC, that's equally as motivated as the Big 12 is to play football and get these games in. So money is a motivator here for sure, and as we're seeing the NFL battle right now in terms of what will be the response to this from a player safety standpoint as we get closer to the season. Right now, it's not a whole lot, but with the NFL getting ready to start mini camps and preseason looming, they're now having the whole hashtag we want to play and really going after the commissioner over the lack of transparency around their guidelines from a safety and health perspective. So that stuff has to be weighed in college football as well. I do think it would behoove college football and just in general to try to stay on the same time frame if they can with the NFL. I think it's important, but safety first. And if we're not where the numbers need to be and our elected officials have to step in, then we're now going to have conversations about postponing seasons and pushing things back even further. It's already a mess right now. Those of you who have children in school, that I'm hearing so many different, depending on the county or whatever, of whether they're going to have extracurricular activities for high schools, whether they're going to have any high school sports, ever in 2020, or if the kids are even going to be on site at the schools. All these things have to be weighed out. So I will say strictly from a football perspective, it is exciting to hear that. However, is it the most practical thing come September? That's a different question for a lot of reasons, right? So again, the NFL time frame, I just want to reiterate that even more. If they're not on the same, if they break away, what I mean by that, the NFL goes ahead and plays their season because they can do that without fans, and you're going to see Major League Baseball start up this week. Same thing. If the NFL proceeds and then college football says, we got to push it to the spring, now we're off. Now we're having those conversations about, even if we're able to have a full season in the spring, but now we're having a conversation about, well, guys are going to have to sit, a whole class of guys are going to have to make a decision without playing. NFL evaluators are going to have to make decisions on guys without seeing another year of tape because people are going to want to go to the NFL and make themselves available. You're going to have some big names. You're talking about people like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons. Like there's a lot of moving parts around that could potentially heavily impact the future of these leagues. And then you're also looking at it from a collegiate standpoint. If that happens and people stay, now we have to have the conversations that baseball's going to have, where you're going to have 5 classes of scholarships to account for, which could be problematic as well. So much they got to work through. But to me, the neatest way is for the NFL and college football, because of how they work together, to run their seasons parallel together, or else we're going to have the problems I just, cited just now. So very, very interesting news today. Chris Del Conte. I want to play LSU. I'm just in the video here. I want to play LSU. They are owed an ass whooping 100%, and I want to do it in Baton Rouge, preferably with fans. So for selfish reasons, I want to play the out-of-conference stuff. I don't see the difference between if they're saying we can play football in conference. COVID doesn't matter. COVID doesn't recognize conference versus out of conference. That makes no sense to me. So either we're all the way in or we're all the way out. But the nonsense of, trying to play those games or guys aren't allowed to do jersey swaps and a lot of those things. I understand trying to keep touches to a minimum, but when you're playing a contact sport such as football and we're knocking heads the way we are, either we're in or we're out. So if we're going to be in this capacity, now we have to have a conversation about the fans and how the game will be consumed. So y'all let me know in the comments how you feel about today's news and just your overall reaction and thoughts to it. And we'll be back with more later. Appreciate y'all. Remember, Horns always up.